Okay.
That's the same angle they got the time I was on the West Wing. Close up in the back of my head.
There you go.
I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Ellwood City Area School District, Thursday, September 11th, 2014, to order. Roll call, Mr. Zerone.
Mr. Bazzelli.
Here.
Mr. Cortez.
Here.
Mr. Garda.
Here.
Mrs. Grossman. Mr. Morella.
Here.
Mr. Newpower.
Here.
Mrs. Pansara. Mrs. Petrelli.
Here.
Mr. Stevenson.
Here.
Ms. Keeble.
Here.
Mr. Mancini. Here. Mr. Carroll.
Here.
We stand for a moment of silence, and also a moment of silence for the tragedy from 9/11, and the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I trust that all the board members have read the minutes from our August meeting, committee and regular meetings. I need a motion to approve the minutes from August meeting. Mr. Morella, second by Mr. Stevenson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, we'll move on to our visitors. If you'd like to, we'll start up front here to my left, would be to your right. State your name and the reason why you're here tonight, and we'll just go down the rows.
Bob Cayenne, visitor.
Kathy McCommons, PTO rep. Robin Rogers, parent.
Kim Deloya, co-president, UAEA.
Bill Beckton, visitor.
Sam Berry, co-president, EAEA.
Lisa Clue, visitor.
Jennifer Byers, visitor. Pam McMurdo, visitor.
Craig Mills, visitor.
Randy French, visitor.
Christy Inarino, visitor. Tammy Rosansky, visitor.
Jill Toledo, visitor. Stacy Hamilton, visitor. Diane Wilson, visitor.
Chris Costa, visitor. Lisa Oviel, visitor. Donna DeMace, visitor.
Charlene Lugarelli, visitor.
Alicia Labeater, visitor.
Debbie Wish, visitor.
Seth Risenberger, visitor.
Megan Furdy, visitor. Brittany Vitale, visitor.
Kirby Kegel, visitor.
Scott Kegel, visitor.
Okay, we'll move on to our superintendent's report. Mr. Mancini.
Thank you, Mr. Bazzelli. Just two things. Number one, just a reminder, we have an Act 80 half-day for students on September 19th. Will be a teacher in service. And as far as educational report, I'd like to introduce Ellen Ruckert, our technology coordinator. She's going to talk about something that the board so graciously approved last year, which was our early adopter program for technology. And it's kind of kicked off last June, and where we're at already through September. And I think we've made some great strides, and she's going to go over some of the things that we've done with some of the teachers that are involved in that. So, Ms. Ruckert, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mancini. We started the early adopters program with an application. We got 15 teachers applied. We took all 15, we had room for 20, but we took 15. And the agreement that we had on the application was they had to attend at least three three-hour sessions this summer and help with the in-service on the 29th of August. And the reward for that was to get a nice little Chromebook, and they had to teach a session at the in-service. So we had 15 teachers. They all came for all the 3-hour sessions. 3 or 4 came in on extra 3-hour sessions that we set up. And we had I thought, some of them were here, I think we had a really good time. We all learned. It was a learning experience for all of us. We learned a lot, we practiced a lot, watched as things developed. And on the 29th of August, we did a full day in service as like a tech buffet. We had 16 different sessions, and they were taught all by the teachers that had participated in the early adopters program. We are still learning. There's so much changing, so much new software coming out that we are still learning, and we're gonna all have to learn together on this. We've got some bumps we've got to work out, but I think everything went very smoothly. So, not to take up much time, who's first? Anita's first. Anita Hand's going to talk a little bit about using the Google platform in the primary center and some of the things she's doing in her classroom.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you very much. Again, my name is Anita Hand, and I teach 2nd grade at the Northside Primary Center. And on top of being one of the early adopters and participating in that program this summer, you all approved for me to go several times to the P&C conference in Hershey, where some of us actually really got our feet wet and came back and said, aha, this is something we need to do. We participated in many learning activities out there in Hershey on Google and using Chrome right there in Hershey. So we brought a lot of that back with us. The first thing I wanted to say is why Google Apps in education. And the big thing for me and a lot of the teachers is all the platforms. It doesn't matter what platform is being used at home, if it's a tablet or if it's a smartphone, Google works on all those devices. So I don't have to worry, and I don't have the problems like, oh, it wouldn't open on my computer. Also, it uses all the browsers, so it doesn't matter what browser a family might choose or a student might use, it's applicable. And a big thing for me, having 7-year-olds, one login for all the services. So I don't have to have a different login code for all the students. Once they learn that, it's applicable for everything that we do, whether it's Google Docs, Google Presentation, or perhaps they're building a Google site. It's flexible. I can choose to keep my work private, their work private. They can collaborate in small partners or in a whole class, but if parent permission, they can also publish it to the world, and you'll see some of those options that we've done. The big thing for me is automatic backup. We're used to carrying around all those hard drives, little disks, and I mean, so much for the floppy disks, but all those sticks, and I would probably have 10 of them on me, and I'd be going from computer to computer, and now let's go to this. Well, I don't have to do that anymore. It's stored in the cloud. And another thing that's really nice is we used to say, Mr. Scotchless, did you save your work? Did you save your work? Well, it does. I don't have to say that anymore because it saves every keystroke that they do automatically. So there's no need to worry about that. Students who are young don't lose their work. It automatically saves it and backs it up. This is just a screenshot of one of the things that I did. I know Mrs. Kohlmeyer is going to speak about her Google site for her classroom, which is a website she built. But you can take Google site and go another direction and make a student blog with Google site. So in 2nd grade, we started blogging, and this was my first post to the blog, welcoming the students to our blog and giving them some blogging rules and the parents some discussion as to what that would look like and what a blog exactly is for 2nd grade. And here's a picture of a post or an assignment that I posted for 2nd grade on Falcons. We were busy engaging in the Common Core, reading about nonfiction facts, and they did a 3-2-1 task, which is a higher level critical thinking skill, right on your blog. Now, I'm gonna go back one, I'm sorry. In fact, I'll take you to one of the student blogs. This is Zachary's blog. One of his last posts were at the end of school, one of the last days of school, his 5 top traveling tips after reading a story about going on a summer trip. He also wrote about a leprechaun in a jar, a personal narrative. He wrote a summary, a beginning, a middle, and an end post. He wrote all about me, and here's his 3-2-1 post on the Falcons. 3 ways a scientist saved the Falcons, 2 facts about DDT, and 1 thing that he would like to do to save Falcons. The interesting thing about blogs is it becomes collaborative. Mrs. Jeffcoat, our former Title I aide, took it upon herself to go ahead and be my collaborative person, and she spent time in the evening at home and she would respond to these blogs for us. I was a little weary as to getting the kids responding yet, knowing that I hadn't taught them how to respond appropriately to other students' work. But I'll show you on the next slide how I'm going to address that. This student really excelled at doing his blogs and his writing. He even has some older posts. And this was an independent, I do on Friday something called Genius Hour, where the students have an hour to pick something that's of their interest to learn about. And he was interested in snakes, so he did a lot of research on snakes and wrote snake paragraphs. And he was really into making bulleted lists about facts about snakes that he would find at different resources and add them on. So it gives them a chance to explore their interest in learning and become a master of that area. Now, this is my plan. I've made this, it's called an anchor chart, and it's posted in my classroom, and I'm teaching the kids Common Core aligned how to be a good critic. So here are some examples of compliments they could give another student, because I don't really want them saying, oh, I liked your shirt today. That's not relevant to what our blog is about in the classroom. I really like the way I enjoyed reading the part when, and then some critical suggestions that they could use. Or that it's a good time to work on it, maybe giving somebody some help with spelling, or maybe they're missing an element on the rubric for that assignment. This is a picture also of a web page that I've used with Google Site, and it's for parent access, and parents are able to access it and see student work and get information on language arts and math. But also, more importantly, I'm able to generate wiki pages and web pages that the students can access that I have controlled the content. In other words, they can't leave the site and then end up on a site that I don't want them to be on. Because notice I've created it all myself, put the content there, and the tasks and the activities are controlled through Google Docs and forms, and they come right back to me. Here's another example of just what the end task would look like. It's differentiated by choice and also by ability. Maybe one student will be picking the green task, but maybe an advanced student will be doing the yellow. It also allows me to hook our podcast to them very easily. Another type of website that I've built are parent outreach sites. These are math game sites that give parents video lessons on particular games that they can practice with their students to build critical thinking skills and math problem solving skills. Several of the apps that I use a lot, this one is called ScoopPad. And this is taking you to my data page on ScoopPad. And if you'll notice, there's a measurable impact right here. And what I did was I had 57 students in the RTII program. These were the advanced students that we felt needed stretched into the 3rd grade curriculum. So I set this on the 3rd grade Common Core standards, and you can see that 281 concepts were mastered, and apparently it saved me 25 hours of teaching time and used $373. Now I'd like to see that formula, but I'm not sure where that generated from. Although I was a little disappointed, apparently I have saved 0 trees. But up on the top you can notice that my students scored are compared against the ScoopPad average of kids across the nation participating in the Common Core lessons. The way I utilized this was I gathered that data, and when there was a group of students who showed a low-level score on a particular concept, I would pull them into individual or small group instruction to get those scores boosted above the ScoopPad average. Dogo News is an online newspaper or magazine that allows me to differentiate again by grade and reading ability. I can pick the grade, perhaps I'll go to 3rd grade. And here is about a story about koalas hug trees to beat the heat. The students can select that. And it has pictures and it has the vocabulary. The vocabulary are highlighted. It gives graphs, which are all part of the nonfiction for Common Core. And then it also gives a video, because the kids love the YouTube videos about animals. And then there are comprehension questions and a critical thinking challenge that I can use. But one thing that I've gone and done and put on our Chromebooks and my classroom computers is Clearly. And Clearly is an extension that erases all that extra, I call it garbage, on a website that you don't want the students to see, have access to. It clears the page for them, keeps the pictures, keeps the print, keeps the most important part, the video. But the best thing is it doesn't allow the students to leave this page and go onto YouTube. That's the only video they have access to. So it's very safe and secure. All right, this one's one of my favorite because it allows me the option to publish to the web and let everybody see what our students do. It makes a quick, great, awesome ebook for students. We wrote a book about hedgehogs, and we focused on the who, what, where, when, and why of Common Core again, and did a research paper that was collaborative, and they went ahead and generated this ebook. Now you say, wow, that's pretty good for 2nd grade, but what's awesome about it is, and then there's some of our class projects on hedgehogs, what's awesome about it is it's a free template that the kids really just got to plug things in after they've done their research. So it makes a nice presentation fairly easy. But here's the great part. I can email it to parents, and then they have the option if they want to put it on Facebook or if they want to tweet it out. It's not going to come from me. If it's your child's project and you want to share it with everybody, you have that option. Okay? Another is WeVideo, and I just started using WeVideo. It was a new app that's come out. And what is great about it is I don't need a video camera or any of that. I can put the kids in front of my computer and it will record their podcast. So that's really great. I know Mr. Scotchless is going to speak about Google Classroom, but I went ahead and created my Google Classroom recently. It just came out. And how I'm using it is, in particular, I have a few students who might be disengaged learners this year. And a lot of times, part of their behavior plans are to earn things, rewards, and they like computer time and free computer time. So what I've done is enrolled them in Google Classroom, and I've set up all kinds of games and learning activities they can go to, unbeknownst to them, that during their free time, they're actually practicing the whole week's learning objectives. So it's not really so much free time as it is Mrs. Hand getting a little more practice. And one of them doesn't like to take his spelling test, paper and pencil, but I watched him with Mr. Scotchless. He would do a Google form all day long. So tomorrow he'll be taking his spelling test in a Google form and not even knowing that I'm assessing him. Okay, and one other last app I just kind of wanted to share with you quickly. It's also a great presentation tool and is free. Last year at recess time, we had such bad weather that I went ahead and we started a We Wolverine Weathers Club. And here's just a little thing we came up with. sorry about that. Of course, that's the part the children understand. But thank you for your time and thank you for your support. So those are some of the things that you would see at Northside if you would come over to visit.
Just a comment,
Sure.
that's K1 and 2, right?
Second grade.
Second grade did
The building is K1 and 2. This was second grade's presentation.
Even when my children were in school, we never had anything close to it. I'll ask, do you have anything like this?
No. No, I didn't.
This is fascinating.
Well, while we're switching out, do you have any questions about what Anita's done with this? Somebody has asked me the $1,000 question.
Well, as long as their teachers are trained to handle it properly, as obviously she is,
But it's all free.
I like that part even better.
They can do really good stuff with the tools that are free. And this is part of what we've learned this summer. Nita's done a lot of extra work on her own. But yeah, this is, part of what we did this summer is try to put all these pieces together and
So at Northside, if I'm understanding this, they're one-to-one with the
No,
technology.
not at
Oh,
all.
not
They're
even,
Oh, no,
no.
it's Perry, sorry.
Perry.
It's wrong
A
school.
lot of the time, like, I do this during my lunch or my recess time. I give that time up and I go and I work with the kids. So if at recess, we have indoor recess, some kids will choose maybe to do the Legos. I can bring a small group and sit and we work with it and learn a lot of those things that way. But once we got blogging, the kids know how to blog, we would go down to the computer lab and use the computer lab.
They only have a handful of
I only
tablets.
have-
I think, what,
right.
10 iPads per grade level and a few classroom computers in the computer lab. That's really all they really have over there. So, you know, she makes
I
pretty good
kind of
use of
pull
what-
it when I can, basically. We've had big discussion, like, do the little kids in second grade, do they prefer the iPads?
Right, we've had
Or
that
do they
discussion.
prefer the Chromebook? And, well, if they could have the best of both worlds, they want the Chromebook, the top comes off and it's also an iPad. But,
I found one today.
they want, bring it on
One
over.
today.
But they, prefer the keyboard because they are really into writing. They really are into writing. Also, though, funny story, and just this week in Mr. Scotchless's room, he's like, okay, slide down the screen, and exactly what did they do? 2 or 3 went and touched the screen and went. No, not on the screen, you have to use the mouse, so it's funny. We could use a little bit of an update and
Yeah.
some more technology to get some of this done globally, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, next one, Mandy's gonna talk.
Jody too.
Oh, Jody, I didn't see Jody. Yeah, Jody's here, yeah. Some of our high school teachers and what we did.
So I'm Mandy Long, and I teach French at the high school. And this is my colleague and friend.
Jody Weir, and I teach English.
So we're presenting Google 101. This is just an overview of some of the things that you can do with Google Docs, Google Slides, just some of the ways that it can replace Microsoft Office for free. So very quickly, we'll talk about Google Drive, Google Documents, Google Slides or presentation, Google Calendar, Google Search Engines, and Google Sites.
All right, Google Drive is an internet and cloud-based storage drive. So the beauty of Google Drive is that you can access it on any computer. You don't have to have your own computer to get to it. So I can use my computer at school, I can go home and use my personal computer, I can use my iPhone. Any device that can access the internet will allow you to have Google Drive. The perks of that is that you don't have to have a thumb drive or an external drive, and you can get your work anywhere, so you're not limited. The catch is you have to have the internet. That's the only negative, is that you do need the internet in order to access anything that you save on the hard drive, from photographs to work. So it does have to have the internet. Google Docs, presentation, forms, spreadsheets, drawings, and folders are all in the drive. And the docs, presentation, spreadsheets, and drawings are similar to Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and Paint. So if you are familiar with those, then you can use Google Docs. Google Documents is similar to Microsoft Word. And many of the functions are the same thing, so it's pretty easy to navigate. And of course it's free, so that's a perk because it can replace Microsoft Office and you can store and access anything. The other positive about Google Docs with students is that we can work on it together, and as we're looking at documents, anything from essays to creative stories, research papers, we can actually work on them together at the same time. So my feedback is immediate. If I type it on my computer, it's showing up on their computer. I don't have to open it, save it, make my comments, and then transfer, save it again, email it to them, and have them open it. It's instantaneous. So this document, Mandy and I worked on together, and we could just go back and forth. And we didn't have to constantly save and upload. It was automatic.
In fact, I added that last line sitting here before we started.
And it'll show up on mine. And it'll show up on my drive, and when I open up mine, I'll see her changes. Presentations is like PowerPoint, it's the same thing. So what you're looking at is a PowerPoint presentation made on Google, made on the Google system. And again, it allows you to share and download and edit. My students use this a lot for their presentations. And again, I can give them immediate feedback, and of course it's free. One of the glitches that you have to be careful about with Google Docs is the sharing, publishing, and Edline. There's a difference between publishing and downloading, and that can be a little tricky for new people. Publishing allows you to look at the document, but you cannot edit it. And that's where it can be tricky for teachers helping students and students trying to share their work. Because if they can't edit it, then it's not doing them any good. The purpose is for them to edit and to correct their mistakes. So you need to download it, and then that allows you to open and edit the document. So that can be a little tricky to try to explain that and get used to that. The one thing that has changed with Google is that up until a couple months ago, you were unable to open new documents. So all the documents that we have saved in Microsoft Office can now be uploaded into Google Docs, which means they can now be edited. So that has really saved a lot of time because now they're interchangeable. And we can get everything off of our hard drives and put them on Google Docs if we would want to. And that also applies to students. Google Calendar is similar to the Edline calendar. So whatever we do with Edline, we can do onto Google Calendar. We can set up for our students individual classes. We can post assignments, internet sites, whatever we want that we've done with Edline, we can do with Google Calendar. You can also sync it to your own phone, and you can print it out as well. So some of the things is that it is free, but you have to have the internet. I ran into that problem. My Chromebook doesn't have Microsoft Office on it. I completely forgot that. And I had gone somewhere where there wasn't any internet. I planned on doing schoolwork and I wasn't able to because there was no internet. I couldn't open up any of my documents. So that is an issue if you have a Chromebook. If I would have had the PC, I would have been fine because I have all my documents saved. So that can be a problem. If they don't have the internet, you can't use it. Google Forms, that's the Google Test Maker. It is very useful, but it does not connect to a gradebook program as of this point. And there's no automatic grading. On Edline, we can make tests, and the kids take the tests, and the tests automatically are graded, and then they can automatically sync to Edline. So one thing done, 3 things done in one swoop. But with Google Forms, that's not an ability, and of course it can't connect to a gradebook program. So it's handy, but it does have some extra steps. And also the grade quick features on Chromebook are limited. If we have a Chromebook and you use that, you cannot send attendance and you can't send grades. We still have to use a PC to do that with our program. And there are some limitations with what we can do on the gradebook program with the Chromebook. That's it.
While we're switching out, next presenter, questions for these guys on the Google products at all? While part of the application process too is we promised these guys they would have the ability to apply for more equipment in their room, up to 5 devices. We have not even come up with the application yet. Mr. Mancini and I are gonna have to sit down and work on that. And I think they're sort of itching to get their fingers on that application so they can start to get the equipment in their rooms. We just haven't done that yet.
I did want to add one thing too, that, all the time, Google is always changing and improving things. And if you have an app, or you have, Google Docs, you're not charged for that improvement, they automatically update it. So I think that's important too to know. And, Mr. Scotchless and I were just talking about in the Google Classroom, once I put an assignment there, I'm kind of stuck, it stays there right now. So that's one of the comments going back to Google right now, is we want to be able to slide assignments around to where we want them posted, with much greater ease, similar to like a blended schools or a Blackboard format, so.
I don't wanna take any of Matt's thunder, but before Google Classroom came out, when did we hear about it? Beginning of June or the end of June? And they were asking for early adopters. So you had to apply to be an early adopter. We waited all summer. I think Matt finally got his invitation to be one end of July. And they kept saying it's not coming out till September because they wanted the early adopters to use it, send feedback. And what I was reading was the feedback that Google was getting, they made the changes immediately. So the next time they got in, whatever suggestions, if they were worthwhile suggestions, were taken seriously, they made that change. And then the complaint was, everybody started school in August, they needed to roll it out before September. So they did, they got it rolled out, I think the week we started school was the week it came out. And, so it is constantly changing, but it's a thing that the teachers seem to like. If they didn't have classroom, you would have to share your document with every student in their own folder. This has taken 3 or 4 steps out of the picture, made it a lot easier. So Mr. Scotchless will talk about the classroom.
My name's Matt Scotchless, and I teach elementary computer class at Northside, Perry, and also at Hartman. Over the past few years, I have been using Google Documents and teaching the elementary students how to share with one another, like Ellen was saying, but it kind of got kind of everywhere. They were sharing with their friends, they were sharing with me, and all those documents were just kind of out there. But with Google Classroom that just came out this summer, it pulls it all together, and you as the teacher are sharing documents with your students, and then once they work on their assignment, it's right back to you live, and you can see their work. So what you see in front of you is Google Classroom, and I have a classroom for each one of my classes that I teach. So what you see here is an elementary computer class for grade 5, Mrs. Wise, and also for Mr. Flodico. And as I scroll down, all my other grades are here as well, with 4th grade. So these are all the classes that I have created, and when the students see this, they have an access code where they can join your classroom. So let me open up a classroom here. I'll just open up Mrs. Cortez. This is what their online classroom would look like. And once the students log in with their Google account, they would join with the class code. Here's the class code. I would give them that class code, and they would see their assignments or announcements that the teacher would give them. So one of the assignments that we did today in 6th grade was called the 7 Wonders of the United States. And here are the directions for the assignment. They were to read about the 7 Wonders of the United States. They were to find all 7 wonders in Google Maps and looking around using Street View. And then they were to write 3 facts about one of the 7 wonders of the United States and using the links below. So what Google Classroom does for you is it allows you as a teacher to send out individual links. So I have a link of a Google map for Ellwood City, which they were able to go from Ellwood City to the Brooklyn Bridge, to the Empire State Building, all the way across to see the Seattle Space Needle, all through that. And then we read about the 7 wonders using a document that I created just with information. So we discussed in class the 7 wonders of the United States. And then after they looked at all the ones in Google Maps, I created an assignment that looks like this. And they were to write facts. Now, once the student is in their classroom, they would be able to see all of those links. They could click on this link, and this is what a Google document looks like. They don't know it, but I have a copy of it as well. I can view the same document as the teacher. So as they're writing, I could go in and I could see what they're writing. Also, they would have a turn-in button up here at the top of the screen. When they are done with their assignment, they can turn it into the teacher. So back to my classroom again, you can see that 21 students are done with their assignment. Now I can click on that 21 students and I can see which students have done their work. Now, since that their document is shared with me, here's Abby's work, and if I can click on her document, here's that same worksheet that I created, but then she added her 3 facts about the Hoover Dam.
Have you graded that yet?
I'll show them right now. I haven't graded this yet since they just did it, but over here onto the side, as the teacher, I can assign points to it. So if it's worth 100 points, it can be worth 100 points, or I could click and make it worth 20 points, or I can put in any amount that I want. So if this is worth 20 points, I can update the grade points. And then over here, I would give her the grade. So she would get maybe a 20. And then once it's checked, I can go through all of them, so grading all of them, and then I can return it to her. Now, while we're in this process of her turning it in and me grading it, she won't be able to work on her document. Her document is locked. She can view it, but she won't be able to edit it. Just like as a regular teacher, if they have an assignment or a test, they can't work on it until the teacher gives it back. But as soon as I hit return, she'll be able to see her score. She'll be able to edit her document once again. And that works with all of the classrooms that I have. So here's another classroom, Mrs. Wise. One of their assignments was to let's go bring back summer. And the assignment that I created was this: write a paragraph about what you would do if you could bring back summer. Or they could make a list of 10 items of what they would do if they could bring back summer. This was after we watched the video of the Frozen, let's go bring back summer, as Ellwood was singing. So. And again, each class has their classroom. There's a shapes review that I did in 4th grade. Their assignment was to work on different shapes. So insert one of these shapes going to insert in drawing. So beside a circle, they had to create a circle. Beside a square, they had to create a square. And again, as the teacher, you're able to grade each one of those assignments. The students really enjoyed this. What the beauty of this is they can log into their Google account anywhere, at any computer, like we said before. So if a student is absent, they can check their Google Classroom, they can see what we're doing that day, they can actually do their work. If there's a snow day, they can actually go on and do their work. Now the beauty of this, what that makes it work for me, is because I'm always in the classroom. I'm always in the computer lab, so the computers are handy. Regular classrooms, not so much, so that's why there's a need for more technology in our classrooms. Any questions?
Questions? Mr. Sparkus?
You said that they can log on, so at home, do they have access?
Yes.
Even the elementary, so that
Yes.
they know their codes?
Yes, they should be learning it. I'm still handing out usernames and passwords, but the usernames are pretty much all the same, and then their passwords are their student ID numbers.
So they would just log on to, is that what it is, Classroom?
Yep,
Google?
classroom.google.com.
And there should be a login up there, and they would log in and see.
And then they go right into their
Yeah.
own work.
Yeah.
You can send an email concerning Google Doc. Would I be able to open that on my PC at home?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
no trouble?
No. Now, what's nice is if you have a Word document, you can upload it into Google Docs. And before you were never able to share it, or edit it, you had to open it in the Google Doc format. But now they've changed that. Word documents, everything work well. And that's one of the changes that just came out like late this summer. All of a sudden, everybody's saying, hey, you can open up Word documents.
So it's constantly changing. The classroom, the classroom software itself has changed a lot. Some people are complaining you couldn't change the grade scale as much as they wanted to change, and that stuff has changed. But it is completely evolving, and this is all stuff that's evolving, and, you know, it's going to change. So, you ready, Laura?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm Lori Colmeyer, I teach sixth grade at Hartman. And something that was really neat to me that I did, first I want to thank you for accepting us as early adopters, because without your support, I wouldn't have even been able to explore and do what I've done, which isn't a whole bunch yet, but I think it's going to truly grow. This reading interest survey is something that whenever the students came to me at the end of the school year last year, I had a little reading interest getting to know you survey for the kids to complete. They left, it was the next last day of school. I was going through them, I didn't have names on papers, I had questions skipped, but whenever they came back to school the first week of school, they were able to go to Mr. Scotchless, and I added a few more questions to my reading interest getting to know you survey, and found out everything about the students that I had originally wanted to find out, because something that you can create are little surveys, and you can have the questions required. And the kids can't move on to the next question without answering the previous question. And because it's on the computer, it's fun. So, you know, your first and last name, you don't give me that, you don't even go on to the next question. So I don't have to worry about, okay, who is this, you know? And they went through, and it was wonderful at the end, because I'm at 75 kids now, I have all their information, and it was really neat because Google made a spreadsheet that I have all of their responses to, that I was able to print out. I know what their favorite book is, I know what their favorite TV show is, I know how late they stay up at night, you know, anything they wanted to tell me. They asked me questions so that the comfort level in our classroom and our atmosphere can become more comfortable for everybody too, because we all are comfortable and know each other. And this was something that was really cool, because without being involved with this program, I wouldn't know so much about my students already. Additionally, something really else neat about this is before the first day of school even started, a student that I had this year took the survey before the first day of school, because you can go on through, if you have a Google account, you can log on to your Google account, and since I added all of my kids on, I had one student actually that completed the survey before the first day of school, and I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good. So I was so excited, because I didn't realize that would happen either, but those go-getter kids have access to anything that I put out there. Another benefit is, I always wanted to do a website, but I wasn't totally sure like how. Google made it so easy. That's my classroom door. Welcome to sixth grade. It's very easy to promote communication with families, with you guys, and with the students. If you click on the links, there's about the teacher, there's the curriculum, a newsletter, the school calendar, plus I have uploaded the high school calendar in case parents have students in multiple classes, resources and favorite links. You saw some that Anita shared. I have additional ones on there. But it's like an additional one spot that you can get so much information about our classroom. Everything that they have talked about, of course, you can do in sixth grade also. The I can statements, the sixth grade standards for Common Core are promoting, you know, using research and gathering information, using the multimedia and the print, and to meet just regular Common Core criteria by using all the different resources that you've seen today. I think the kids, I have proof just from the one that did it before I even asked, are truly engaged, and the rigor, I think, as you've seen through the presentations, will be there. I don't have Google Chromebooks in my classroom, and that's part of why I'm here too, because we want the tools to do the job. So it's like my plea too, to please get, you know, approved Chromebooks. And like I said, honestly, thank you, because I'm being exposed and I'm learning, and I'm really excited, and the kids are too. They want to do everything that you've seen here. So I just wanted to thank you.
And I do have, some of the Chromebooks that we have for the kids right now, are back here. I'm gonna take a look at one, we'll just do this real quick. This is what the kids, we have carts these at Perry, these were, what were they experiencing, $179? I got them $79, $30 for the license. I control these there's a cloud management console for me, and I put all the kids in one place. I can push apps out to them from one place. The students seem to like it. We've only replaced 2 screens elementary-wise so far out. We have 150 at Perry and 30 here. We've replaced 2 screens. Surprisingly, the screens are very easy to replace and very cheap, which surprised the heck out of me. And we've replaced 1 keyboard. We do use these for cyber also, so they do go off in cyber bits. But they are nice machines, and this is what we would get the teachers in their rooms whenever we get the application ready for the grant that they can actually apply for more. $179.
179. To the public?
I think that's the best.
I was looking online just recently, and yeah, they're under $200.
Yeah, they're under 200. They are.
They're basically a computer.
Yeah. But they don't have, you can't install software on them. Okay, so what do we install on? We install Word, we install that kind of stuff. If they've got Google Docs, they've got that kind of stuff. So,
Pretty limited when you can,
that's about right, yeah. They're using Google. And we're using Google. Somebody asked about there were concerns about Google data mining the email and stuff. Our kids don't have email, their emails are not turned on, so they don't do any data mining or any of the scanning of the kids' accounts at all, especially under an education account.
all right, what are you using to keep them from accessing things they shouldn't be accessing?
When they're here at school, we have a school-wide filter that handles all of that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just reading about a school where they were able to access pornography.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything, but yeah, not here, you shouldn't be, you should not, we have a real good filter in place, that as long as they're on my network. Now, if they're on their phone, using mom and dad's data plan, we can't control that. So, all right, as long as they're on my network, we can control it. Any other questions?
How many Chromebooks do we have sort of circulating throughout the school for like students to use?
We have 1 cart of 30 here at the high school, and we have 150 at Perry. And
What happened to the
They're
old?
none apartment.
None in Hartford.
That's why I'm here.
What happened to the old like white MacBooks?
They're still here.
Still running.
They're still running.
Are they old? How old are they?
Some of them are close to 9 years old.
Mine's actually 12.
Yeah. They're still cooking, but they're slowing down a little bit.
So then, what was the decision? Like, why are we going Google instead of Apple now? It's free software, basically.
It's free. Management-wise, for us, it's just so much easier. The kids seem to want a keyboard, and if you want to use these for testing, you can't use the iPads for testing unless you attach a keyboard to it. And the Mac or the iPad minis, you can't use at all because they have to be at least the regular iPads. These seem to just work better.
I like they're small, they're compact.
Right. I sat for a webinar yesterday. A school district in Texas went one with Chromebooks, 13,000 Chromebooks they rolled out. And it only took them a month to roll them out. And they went with these size, they looked at these and they looked at 14-inch, and they said these fit in a backpack better than 14-inch backpack.
That's not good. We don't want to take them home.
Yeah. But, yeah, they've held up pretty well, Perry. They've held up pretty well here. So I think Lisa Oviel's used them a lot. Yeah, I'll bring her into this too. She started using them last year, and she does a lot of what we showed tonight.
Tell everybody the cost.
$179 for these. Plus, there's a $30 charge for the management console, but for $10 a year or whatever, it's cheap. Right? Any other questions? Any questions for our presenters? I give these guys a lot of credit. They were here for the summer, we stuck it out, and I think everybody learned. All right, thank you.
I just say one thing, over the summer I was able to write a grant through Nelco, and I was awarded 25 finches. This is a finch, and what students will be able to do with these finches are program it to turn left, turn right. There's a sensor on it to tell the temperature. The eyes light up. There's a light up here too. So in programming in my classes, 5th and 6th grade, hopefully we'll be using the finches and finch software to program computers like this.
Just want to add, it's been an initiative for us for this is only the last couple of months. It's not like we've been doing this for years, some Google here and there, but, so this is how far we've come. I think our August 29th in-service day where all the teachers were exposed to the Google apps and the Google possibilities, it's endless. And I sat through a Google Forms class, and by the end of the day, I was able to create a Google form to get out to every teacher so they can give me feedback on what they thought of the day. So I got a spreadsheet with how they're going to use it and what they thought of the day. So it's not difficult, but I know that if you have kids in college or your kids are heading to college, that everything is done online now and assignments are done through these kind of applications, and we'd be hurting our students if we didn't prepare them for that level of knowledge. And so the more that we can expose them to it and get our teachers, our thought was, let's get it in the teachers' hands first, let's get them learning it, and then it'll spread hopefully like wildfire for the students and so on. So we're at those beginning stages, and it's exciting to see. So thank you very much.
Thank you again for that presentation. We'll move on to our student council now. Peyton Kegel, would you like to give your report?
Hi, I'm Peyton Kegel, and I'm here on behalf of the Junior High Student Council, and I have the following activity to report. With Mr. Lett's approval, the Junior High and Senior High Student Council relocated all of our supplies and decorations to a new storage area, and this was a big undertaking, and we thank Mr. Lake for our new space. The Senior High Student Council came in before school to begin to decorate the large display case out in our commons area in order to greet the students and to congratulate Mr. Mancini, our new active superintendent. In a campaign to raise money for the American Cancer Society program in conjunction with the NFL's A Crucial Catch, the Student Council has and will be soliciting donations for footballs at each of the home games. We have the footballs painted pink, and the principals, athletic director, senior players, and cheerleaders signed them, and the first one was raffled at the game on Friday, the 5th of September. In the weeks to come, juniors and sophomores will also sign the balls. The last ball that we will raffle will be signed by the senior members of both our team and the Beaver Falls Tigers. We also like to thank Mr. Mancini for approving a dress down day on the 19th of September, where those proceeds will also be donated to the American Cancer Society. We plan to raise approximately $1,500 to donate for breast cancer awareness. We have invited Erin McClellan to speak to our junior and senior students. She is challenging Keith Rothfuss, who spoke to our students last night for the 12th district seat in the United States Congress. She will be here on the 23rd of September from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and we also like to extend our invitation to our school board to attend as well. We have also invited Kia Tomlin, Mike Tomlin's wife from the Steelers, to speak to our female students about the importance of self-respect. We expect her to be here in late September or early October. With the cooperation of Mr. Late, ECTV, and Mr. Golaby, the Junior and Senior High Student Council is planning to enter the Macy's Lift Oven competition. It's a video shoot that attempts to incorporate the student body, faculty, and staff. It is designed to demonstrate school spirit, and this video takes the Beach Boys songs, Be True to Your School. The tricky part is that the entire video must be shot in one take. We are in the process of making a flow chart that will detail where the shoots will begin and end with all participants planned out so that we can organize the event with Mr. Lake so it will not interrupt our educational process. Macy's first prize is $25,000, second prize is $15,000, and third prize is $10,000. While we may not win, we hope to enjoy the experience of showcasing all of our clubs and sports. Our member, Michaela Magnifico, attended the 4-day Pennsylvania Association of Student Council Leadership Conference at Grove City College this summer. Both junior and senior high student council contributed for her registration costs, and she will be in during the next month's meeting to make a short presentation about her experience. We have selected October 6th through the 17th for our annual candy sale, where we plan to raise $1,800 for our club through selling Daffin's candy bars. Unfortunately, the fall conference this year is on the night of homecoming, so we will not be able to attend. And for homecoming week, we are planning a spirit week of activities and more details to follow. And that is all I have for tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Keeble, for your student council information. We appreciate it. We'll move on now to revenue and finance. Mr. Newpile.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight, under Revenue and Finance, number 7, the General Fund Treasurer's Report. In your folder is the General Fund Treasurer's Report as of August 31, 2014. The summary of accounts is as follows. ESB Bank checking, $2,488,511.14. PLGIT, $10,323.32. PSDLAF, $1,385.11. PA Invest, $378.60. ESB Public Investment, $6,232,426.27. ESB Certificate of Deposit, $4,013,162.72. Total cash and investments at August 31, 2014, $12,746,187.16. I move the General Fund Treasurer's Report for August 2014 be approved as presented.
Second, Mr. Stevenson. Any questions? Any objections to the motion? Motion passes. Excuse me, Mr. Newpile, before we go on any further. Ms. Keeble, you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting.
You're welcome to.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
That's exciting. Okay, number 8, General Fund Accounts Payable. In your folder are the General Fund Accounts Payable checks. The first batch includes checks 107186 through 107188. 3 checks amounting to $355. The second batch includes checks 107189 through 107367 and 12 wire transfers amounting to $1,156,432.28. The final batch includes checks 107368 through 107427. 60 checks amounting to $1,582,167.23. I move the General Fund Accounts Payable checks be approved as presented.
Second. Mr. Cortez, any questions? Any objections to the motion? The motion passes.
Number 9, Capital Reserve Fund Treasurer's Report. In your folder is the Capital Reserve Fund Treasurer's Report for August 2014. The total investments at August 31, 2014 were $259,916.12, and the total available in the checking account was $22,819.85, for a total available of $282,735.97. I move the Capital Reserve Fund Treasurer's Report for August 2014 be approved as presented.
Second. Mr. Garda, any questions? Any objections to the motion? Motion passes.
Number 10, Capital Reserve Fund accounts payable. In your folder are the Capital Reserve Fund accounts payable checks. Included are checks 1429 through 1431. 3 checks amounting to $187,629.28. I move the Capital Reserve Fund accounts payable checks be approved as presented.
Second, Mr. Stevenson, any questions? Any objections to the motion? Motion passes.
I would ask that the following reports be included in the minutes of this evening's meeting. As of August 31, 2014, the investment report, investment earnings, athletic facility fund report, Helling Stadium Century Club report.
Did you see they made part of the minutes, Mr. Verdon? Thanks.
Okay, number 11, procurement card PFM. In your folder is a resolution authorizing the district to participate in the procurement card program administered through PFM Financial Services. I move the resolution be approved as presented.
Second, Mr. Morella, any questions? Any objections to the motion? Motion passes.
That's all from Revenue and Finance, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Newpower. Personnel and Education, Mr. Garda.
Thank you, Mr. President. Number 12, substitute change. I move that Ms. Lauren Wilson, previously approved RTI facilitator at Northside Primary, be approved as a long-term substitute under the terms and conditions of the long-term substitute memorandum between the district and EAEA.
Second.
B. I move that Ms. Tara Spiker be approved as RTI facilitator at Northside Primary School under the terms and conditions of the RTI tutor memorandum of understanding between the district and EAEA.
Second.
Second, Mr. Newpower. Any questions? Any objections to the motion? Motion passes.
Number 13, Hartman intramural sponsor. I move that Brian Wolfong be approved as the Hartman intramural sponsor for the 2014-15 school year at a rate of 4 units or $500.52.
Second, Mrs. Panzera, any questions? Any objections to the motion? Motion passes.
Number 14, PSSA math tutor. I move that Ms. Kayla McKee be approved as PSSA math tutor at Perry Lower Intermediate School under the terms and conditions of the RTI tutor memorandum of understanding between the district and EAEA.
Second,
Second.
Mrs. Petrelli, any questions? Any objections to the motion? Motion passes.
Number 15, cafeteria hires. I move the following individuals be hired as cafeteria employees under the terms and conditions of the agreement between the district and SEIU Local 32BJ. A. Sherry Lewis, 120 Studebaker Road, Portersville, PA, for the 3-hour position at Northside Primary School. B. Patty Otlowski, 725 Morningstar Drive, Ellwood City, PA, for the 3-hour position at Hartman Intermediate School. C. Nicole Paisley, 520 Pine Avenue, Ellwood City, PA, for the 4-hour position at Perry Lower Intermediate School.
Second, Mr. Cortez, any questions? Any objections to the motion? Motion passes.
Number 16, PSBA elections. I move that the board secretary be authorized to cast votes for the following PSBA slate of candidates. President-elect Kathy Swope, Charles Balliard, Vice President Mark Miller, Treasurer Otto Boyd III, at-large representative in the East Robert Schwartz, Edward Fascinetto, Edward Cardo, at-large representative West Daniel O'Keefe, at-large representative Central David Hutchinson.
Second, Mrs. Panzera, any questions?
Discussion on this.
Go ahead, Mr. Gardner.
The ones that are asterisk, PSBA feels that they are unqualified to, accept the positions as president, president-elect, treasurer, and at-large representatives. If it's the wish of the board, we can go with the recommendation from PSBA.
Okay,
So it's a situation where you're voting for one candidate. The asterisk candidates are the PSBA recommendations, so not everybody would be checked.
Yeah, that was my question, we're not voting for the sole.
No.
We'd be voting against ourselves.
Right.
Yeah. Just the asterisk candidate.
If that's what the board's wishes are.
Can we adjust the motion to state that? We're voting for the asterisk candidates?
go ahead, Mr. Stevenson, make the motion.
Well, I think Mr. Gardner, he'll just amend his motion to say we're voting for
Okay. PSBA elections. I move that the board secretary be authorized to cast votes for the following PSBA slate of candidates. President-elect Kathy Swope, Lewisburg Area School District. Vice President Mark Miller, Centennial School District. Treasurer,
Yeah, that's the only one.
Yeah.
There's only one, so you have to vote for him.
And then what happens when we have to vote, there's two asterisks for the at-large and east? Just
I
one.
would assume that
We had to choose one of them.
two.
Yeah, the east is probably, or west, I mean,
I believe so. We did west.
Well, I think we would vote for one candidate for each, east and west, because
East
they're
and west.
representing the board all the way around.
What is your vote?
Okay, at-large representative East, Robert Schwartz.
On your paper that you had sent forward, that we looked at on Monday, it shows them both highlighted, both asterisk. So,
Right, so
there's
it's
two.
the boards, after the board reviews their credentials, they would have to make a choice, one or the other.
I'm asking for a quick poll, Robert Schwartz or Eddie Pedicino.
Ms. Pansara,
I guess since they had Robert first, I'd say Robert Schwartz.
Mr. Morello,
Robert Schwartz would do it.
Mr. Stevenson, Ms. Petrelli,
That's fine.
Mr. Garda,
Schwartz.
Cortez. Mr.
That's
Newbauer.
Anita,
Go ahead.
only because I can pronounce the name Bethlehem School.
Well, I can pronounce Wallenpaupack, so I'm gonna vote Schwartz.
I also go with Mr. Schwartz. So we have a unanimous vote, Mr. Jerome on that.
Okay, at-large representative, David O'Keefe, and at-large representative Central, David Hutchinson.
We'll do this again, Mrs. Pansara. Two different- Oh, I'm sorry.
So it's west.
Yeah, we're good on that.
Second to the.
So we're not-
Second, yes, we need a second to the new motion.
Second.
Mr. Newbauer. Any questions on the motion? Any objections to the motion? Motion passes.
Okay, finally, number 17, resignation. Amy Jeffcoat has submitted her resignation as Title I-A effective immediately. I move the resignation be accepted.
Second,
Second.
Mrs. Petrelli, any questions? Any objections to the motion? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Garda. Properties and Transportation, Mrs. Pansara.
Thank you, Mr. President. Transportation agreement, in your folder is a summary and a copy of the transportation contract required for the 2014-2015 school year. I move that the contracts be approved as presented.
Second.
Second, Mr. Cortez. Any questions?
Yes, I have one.
Mr. Stevenson.
What, with the amount that we're sending to Beaver County Christian, would it be cheaper to use a van and take them all down in one rather than have parents taking them and we're paying out how much money to them?
I don't
$22.40
think,
a day.
I mean, the van, you're paying per day costs.
I mean, just one van.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I'm not sure the exact price of one van, but,
It's
$175 a day versus,
$140.
so.
I think you take two vans as well. And I think they're different, different age groups, so you might be able to split them up. But, I mean, this is really a parent choice, I think, more than us dictating to them that they're gonna have to ride a van for 5. It's something we can look into.
I'm just thinking cost factor. You know, we have that many kids going to one school.
Any other questions?
No,
Any objections to the motion? The motion passes.
Western Pennsylvania Gasoline Diesel Fuel Consortium. In your folder is the pricing for diesel fuel and unleaded gasoline for the period of September 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2015. I move that the prices be approved as presented.
Second, Mr. Garda, any questions? Any objections to the motion? Motion passes.
MOP uniform proposal. In your folder is an analysis of the proposals submitted for uniform and MOP lease services. I move that the contract be awarded to Cintas Corporation, North Jackson, Ohio, contingent upon solicitor review and approval of the contract document.
Second, Mr. Morello, any questions? Any objections to the motion? Motion passes.
Facility use request, Austin Street Productions. I move that the American Poland Soldiers Project and Austin Street Productions be authorized to use the Sergeant Leslie Salo Auditorium on November 11, 2014, to tape an episode of Brush of Honor honoring Medal of Honor recipient Sergeant Leslie H. Sabo that will be aired on the Inspiration Network. Usage is contingent upon solicitor review and approval of various releases.
Second,
Second.
Mr. Cortez, any questions? Any objections to the motion? Motion passes.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mrs. Pancera. Student Affairs and Athletics, Mr. Cortez.
Thank you, Mr. President. 22, field trip request. Mrs. Jolene Servant, business math teacher, requests permission to take 10 to 20 students to Benedine Center in Pittsburgh, PA to see Dave Ramsey, Legacy Journey Live on Thursday, September 25th, 2014, departing at 5:30 p.m. and returning around 10:30 p.m. I move the field trip be approved as presented.
Second.
I have a question. How are they getting there?
It's bus transport, buses taken.
Buses
Yeah.
taking them?
I have a question.
Yes.
We had asked last year that all requests be made by the time that the communicator goes out on Monday. Why is this coming in now?
I would imagine it's something that came up between, and they found out about between Monday and Thursday. The only thing I can say about that, if we don't let them go, then it hurts the students that have the opportunity to go. It's something that she teaches in her class in business math. She uses Dave Ramsey's curriculum in the business math for personal finance, and we could say no, but I mean, again, if she has interested students to go, then, I mean, I'd say it's gonna hurt the students. I understand the concern of the board, but it's something that the teachers feel that's important for the students to see, and
How are they
I
paid
hate-
for it?
I think it's student paid, students pay for the entrance fee, and the district's paying the busing, so. It's volunteer, it's something at night, it's something that she's
Not
taking.
missing class.
Not missing class. It's an opportunity to see Dave Ramsey live in Pittsburgh, so it's something that she teaches and felt that it was important, so. I mean, I understand that we said we'd have to get them in before the communicator, but again, things come up, or teachers find things between the communicator and the day, and it's hard to say no, and Mr. Lape approved it, so. I mean, it's up to the board, I guess, so.
Second.
Second by Mr. Morella. We'll try to get them in as soon as
Understand.
possible.
I mean, like things like I said, there's things they find
Yeah.
out late that.
Understandable.
Can we send out some like a mass email to let the teachers know that
I think
it's
the
coming to the point?
principals have done that.
We do need to make this so they understand that it is a rule.
Yeah, until we start saying no, it's gonna keep happening.
Exactly.
We're approved on that. Go ahead, Ms. Panzer.
Oh, it's not me.
Or, I'm sorry, it was seconded. Any questions? Any objections to the motion? The motion passes.
Number 23, nurse practicum. In your folder is a placement agreement with Eastern Mennonite University for Roseanne Williams to complete her nursing practicum in the district from January through April 2015 under the direction of Nancy Bresniak and Julia Corey. I move the agreement be approved as presented.
Second, Mr. Morello. Any questions? Any objections to the motion? Motion passes.
24, athletic fund expense report. In your folder is the athletic fund expense report as of August 2014, reflecting total expenses of $30,246.24. I move the report be approved as presented.
Second. Mr. Garda, any questions? Any objections to the motion? Motion passes.
Mr. President, would it be all right if I ask the board to include, everyone has an update, board update on the back page, another motion on under. No one has any objections, I'll make that motion now.
I'll let
Is that what it is?
be passed around, and then we'll make the motion, Mr. Cortez, so everybody can see what it is.
Looks really old. Wait a minute. What's it say about us later?
How are we going to dispose of it?
According to the policy, you can trade it in on new equipment, which I don't think you're gonna be able to do. You can dispose of it at public sale, private sale, sealed quotes, discard it, scrap it, or donate it to another, charitable organization, another school, or another organization in the community that.
Well, if it still works, I think we could maybe offer it to somebody who wants to take it, so we don't have to worry about getting rid of it ourselves.
Is it safe?
Yeah, it works, it's just, they have a new one that shoots the ball out automatically.
I would first, if that's the boys varsity, see if the girls have any use for it. And if not, maybe BDM or Holy Redeemer still has a program, maybe they could use it.
Right.
And if not.
Offer it around with somebody first.
Yeah. The local churches and stuff, they may take it for after-school programs, summer programs. Better than throwing it away.
Yeah, we'll check into it. Yeah, good.
In that case, we just table the motion.
Still being disposed of.
It's being disposed of. You can read the motion.
All right.
Go ahead, you wanna read it now?
Yeah. Coach Kozier is asked for authorization to dispose of the old basketball shoot-away machine. Under policy number 706, board policy 706.1, several ways that the machine can be disposed of if it's determined to be obsolete, unusable, or unneeded. Authorization is requested to dispose of it in a way that will benefit the district. I move that the administration be authorized to dispose of the old shoot-away under provision of board policy 706.1.
Need a second?
Second.
Mrs. Panzera, any questions? Any objections to the motion? Motion passes.
That's all I have tonight, Mr. President, under student affairs and athletics.
Thank you, Mr. Cortez. Recognition and communications, Mr. Stevenson.
Yes, I have just a couple. This one is from Mrs. Gibson, and it's dated September 2014, and it's accommodations that she's giving and the North Side staff members are giving. The North Side staff and the students would like to thank our PTO for the many volunteer hours that have been served at North Side. This service hours include first day helpers, cafeteria, paw prints, picture day, recycling, dismissal, and weigh and measure helpers. I mean, that's a lot of things they do over there, and we certainly appreciate their support. We had a total of 106 parents helping in our school. Thank you. Rick Lake, our principal here at the high school, he would like to commend the entire Lincoln High student body for doing a great job in the first 3 weeks of school. It's been a smooth start to another school year, and the student body has been very cooperative in helping make Lincoln High School a great place to learn. I'd also like to commend the teaching staff, along with the custodial and secretarial staff, as well as other support personnel, adding to the smooth start to the school year. Finally, the parents have been supportive, very supportive, and cooperative in helping me complete the last piece of the puzzle and starting the school year on the right foot. Success requires the cooperation of all stakeholders, and it's greatly appreciated by the Lincoln High School administrative staff. So I guess that's everybody. And finally, Frank Keeley, the principal at Hartman Intermediate and Perry Lower Intermediate. Congratulations to the Hartman Morning News team. Olive Battaglia, Chelsea O'Brien, Molly McCommons, Emily Kennedy, Rena Pollack, I hope I pronounced that first name right, Danielle McCowan, and Mr. Frank Filatico, the faculty advisor. The team has been scripting, filming, editing, and publishing the morning announcements since the first day of school. Their broadcast is quite professional, and he encourages everyone to look for the Hartman News on the Armstrong Cable Channel 212 or 50, or in the television monitor located here in the Commons Room. And also great thanks to the PTO for assistance with picture days. Perry and Hartman really appreciate the help, and we could not have done it as smoothly without you. That's signed by Frank. Mr. President, those are the only commendations I have.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. We'll move on to new business. Do we have any new business tonight? Mr. Newfire.
Kind of just throwing this out because I'm not sure the proper procedure, but I'm still the president of Ellwood City Amateur Baseball, hopefully for just a short time longer. But we obviously over the years have done a lot of improvements to the Little League field over there at the expense of the Baseball Federation. But we're interested, or there is some interest, to build a retaining wall between the dugouts and the press box at the Little League field that would involve digging away some of the hillside to keep that dirt. Every bad rainstorm, it washes that hillside down, of course floods the field, but also mud runs into the dugouts and it's just a mess to walk in. So a project that I'd like to entertain with the baseball board is to fund, at the expense of the Baseball Federation, a retaining wall to keep that mud from washing out every rain, but also backfilling it with some heavy gravel so the kids are walking on gravel and not mud. I don't really know what the cost of this project would be, but what is the proper procedure? I mean, we've done other changes, put a new scoreboard up, painted, maintenance, I mean, just to the field every season, but we need to get official approval to do something like that. Okay, so.
Is this gonna be on both sides or?
Both sides.
Both sides. Is there any objections to this, project that, the Amateur Baseball Federation wants to take up?
Well, it's more hypothetical at this point, but I want to propose it
Right.
to our board. We've talked about it for a while, but
I don't see any problem with, the board here.
do I need to make a motion to do it?
Are you ready for baseball then for promotion?
Yeah, you should find out from them.
Make sure they want to do it. It sounds like there's no objections for you to.
Yeah.
talk about here.
All right, thank you. I have one thing that I want to add. I talked to Attorney DeCaro and I talked to Mr. Mancini for our meeting tonight. I've been thinking about this for a few meetings now, and I'd like to put a motion out on the floor to ban all cell phones before we start our meetings, because we're here for a reason, we're here to conduct business. I'm guilty as anybody else, I always leave mine on, but I leave it low. But I think that we should have, mandatory when we come in before we start our meetings, if we shut off all our cell phones. That's, everybody in the room during our meeting. And I wanna entertain a motion to that, I need a second on it, if, you feel that that's okay. If not, we'll just,
Well, I think that's fine, I just think there are some occasions where there may be a reason, an emergency or something that's going on that somebody may need to have it, not so much off, but they all should be silenced and put away.
well, that's
Vibrate,
fine,
exactly.
if you wanna go that way, that's fine with me too, but I don't wanna have, cell phones ringing while we're having our board meetings.
Definitely.
If that's okay, we'll, entertain a motion for that.
So the motion would read that it's on silent mode.
Silent mode while we're in session. Yes, and not used while we're, is that fine with everybody? Okay, I need a second on that motion, Mrs. Panzera.
I have a question.
Mr. Newfire, question.
I mean, my business is a
I
24-hour a
understand
day business, and there are often some emergencies that happen that I need to check. They know when I'm in a school board meeting to send it in a text, but I may need to glance at it, if it's an emergency, I may need to step out and
Considerable,
take it.
that's fine. If it's an emergency, I don't have a problem with it. I just don't want cell phones going off while we're, doing our business. So, we don't have any other objections to it. All right, we'll make that motion, and it's passed that, cell phones will be turned to vibrate, or if there's an emergency, you can step out and take care of it.
And I ask you to make a second.
Mrs. Panzera. Any other new business tonight? If not, we'll go back to our visitors. We'll start back in the front again. If you have any other questions that you'd like to ask us tonight, feel free to do so.
Yeah, Bob Cunningham, how did we make out on the dishwasher here at the high school? Was there any resolution did Hartman's fit, or wasn't that where it's coming from?
I think they met today, and they do have a low temperature sanitary soap that they're using that's acceptable according to the county, and because they're only washing pots and pans, and they cook in them, that's heated up enough, but they're still in the process of deciding if they're gonna move Hartman's up or just, purchase a new one because of, it, so.
So
we met
there
with
weren't
people
any
today.
prices involved yet?
What's that?
You didn't get any prices
No.
yet? Is there a ballpark figure on
I
that?
haven't heard, not heard. He just met with them today, so.
All right, thanks.
Any other questions from the visitors? Go ahead.
Sorry, Kathy McCommons, I just want to thank the sampling of teachers that we have here tonight over there and behind us for a wonderful start of the school year. And I also do want to, there's been a lot of rumblings about Perry closing, sixth grade going to the high school. If there's any clarification you're willing to make at this point?
That's still in the studies. There's nothing definite yet. Still being studied.
Do you have a timeline?
No. No,
We've
Mr.
met once.
Mancini.
We've only met once, and some of the teachers are here that are on that study. It's in its infancy stages. I think there's another meeting scheduled next week for the people that are on that committee, and so we've only just kind of introduced it so far, so nothing definite.
Thank you.
Well,
I, just to piggyback that, Robin Rogers, and I just have questions, and I didn't know if parents were going to be included in any meetings. I know that there are teachers that are on that, and there is someone from the community, but as a parent, I would like to know if that is something that could be put in place, because I have a child that could end up in that position, and I'm just curious. And
right
if
now,
that-
there is one parent that's on the committee, and, our goal through that study that the board has assigned us to is to lay it out, what the pros are, what the cons are, what the savings will be, what the educational costs will be, and that, we're in the middle of that project, because like I said, we just started that process. Like I said, we do have one parent on the committee, who's giving his input. Mr. Keeley's kind of, heading that committee.
Was that person picked by Mr. Keeley?
I
Or
believe
was it
so. I
out
believe
there
so.
that parents could, I mean, I understand you can't have every parent who has an
Right, and
opinion, but if it's only one person.
I could talk to him if we could add some, put your name down and I'll
You could put
suggest-
mine down too.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I'm an educator as well,
Okay.
so I have different
Right.
views on things, so I just would
Right,
like
we're
to
trying to
be
be as-
included.
I mean, we're trying to be as, non-biased across the board as far as how we're approaching it. And like I said, the first meeting was just pretty much an introduction to it, and we've got an assignment to look at the pros and cons now. We're gonna bring those back next week, and I think there's 2 board members now that are gonna be on that committee, so, like I said, that's just where we're at with it, so.
Do we have any update how it's going at all?
I think it's just, like I said, when we talked about possibilities, and people kind of gave their input, and our assignment kind of was, when we left, was think about the pros and the cons, and then we're bringing those back on the 17th. When we, a lot of the discussion was, when we closed Walnut Ridge and we realigned the schools, that was one thing, but closing a building and then moving kids is a totally different kind of animal, so, and that's where a lot of discussion is right now with the other committee. That's all I can really tell you right now so far.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm just gonna stand because I'm short and I like to see everybody. I sensed a little frustration when we got to the section on field trips from Mrs. Pansera referring to the communicator. On the elementary level, I don't believe we have any understanding of what that is. So since we have everybody here, teachers, board members, administration, I quickly conferred with Mr. Berry on that. I think we need a little bit more clarification and clarity as to what this communicator is, so that we don't have the frustration as far as turning in what you need at a certain given time. So that's just my thought, my input, that needs to be clarified amongst the entire staff.
We've had issues when field trips have been presented, turned in the night we're making a vote. No clarification on who's driving, what type of vehicle, how many children, the cost, who's paying the cost, insurance responsibilities. All we have is a request, and the trip's the next day. So how can we safely
I'm with
answer
you
that
100%.
concern
I'm
without
just
the
saying, can
information?
we have an understanding of a guideline, a time frame? If you're looking for a specific time frame, and not like Mr. Mancini said this evening, things do come up, and that's understandable. But I think maybe if you want something the Monday before the board meeting, we all need to have an understanding of the timeline that's expected.
Last year, that was what we requested, that all information be given. The communicator is in notes on us and what is on the agenda.
I see.
So
The communicator gets mailed on Thursday.
It gets mailed out on
So,
Thursday.
you
The
know.
Thursday before the
Before
following week.
the Monday, so we get them Friday, so we have the weekend to
To look at it.
examine
So
them, so we know.
if we
what's
have
going on.
concerns and questions, there's enough time before our voting meeting that following Thursday to be able to answer it and vote for the best interest of the kids. So it is very frustrating, and it happened a lot, to get a request Thursday for a trip the next day.
Most understandable, but my point in bringing this up again is just so that we're all on the same page as to expectations. What's expected of the teachers as far as the timeline is turning in field trip requests. I don't think, an understandable of exceptional cases, hey, we just found out about this, it is, this Thursday, perfectly acceptable, it happens every once in a while, but I just think if everybody's on the same page, clarifications, expectations, it can help eliminate a lot of problems.
Oh, definitely.
We just want to be advised ahead of time what you want in the way of a field trip and how it's gonna be beneficial or educational to the students. We get some of them in here, requests. One year was for Christmas shopping. We're gonna take a day off of school for Christmas shopping at the mall. No, you're not. I think you can understand.
Oh, for sure.
So we just wanna know ahead of time, everything there is to know about your requested trip.
Right.
You know, follow it, like,